And this one is a competitive game where players are playing as black holes, trying to consume as much matter and antimatter as possible in order to increase their mass, to increase your gravitational pull, draw in even more mass and matter, to just become as big as possible, because it's the player with the most mass at the end of the game that's going to be the winner. To start the game, each player is going to have a hand of action cards as well as their own black hole board with 2 different paths that you're going to be drawing in different celestial bodies and different types of matter into your orbit in order to consume and just make yourself more massive. As you do that, you're going to be increasing your solar mass out on the victory point board, but this board is also used for players to take their main actions each round, because this is a game that plays over 6 rounds, and to start the round, you're going to be drafting actions from this board. There's 2 different drafts that players are going to be going through, and to do that, you're going to be taking your colored action token and then assigning it to one of the actions below those tokens. These actions can do different things like assign different types of matter to your board, and the number of dots on these different tokens represent the amount of mass that they're going to be adding to your black hole if you're able to get that matter to the center of your board. Normally when you add matter this way, it's going to get added to the number 1 space on your board, but you can choose whether you want it to be on the blue path or the red path. But if you choose to instead add antimatter to your board, it's going to be going onto your board the exact same way, but the other players are going to be forced to add a smaller amount of antimatter to their boards. This could be bad for them, because if they are forced to put it in a space where other matter already exists, anytime that antimatter and matter come in contact, they're both going to be eliminated. The nice thing about antimatter is that there are certain locations on your board with the antimatter icon, and if you're able to orbit the antimatter to that space, it's just going to be going straight into your black hole, skipping over all the remaining spaces that regular matter would have to follow through. But another action does allow you to orbit the matter on your board, moving both your matter and antimatter 1 space clockwise down the different paths. And finally, there's actions that allow you to move up on your discovery track on the bottom of your board. This discovery track essentially acts as a resource that you'll be able to spend throughout the remainder of the round, as well as optionally at the end of the round to convert some of that into solar mass. After all the players have drafted their actions, you're then going to be able to take additional actions by each player then having a turn where they can spend their discovery track in order to buy anomaly cards. And the anomaly cards come in 3 different types, and they're going to be located on the side of the board there. And if you are able to purchase those, then those will grant you some sort of passive ability, allowing you to build up a bit of an engine as the game goes on. But you can also use those action cards that you were dealt at the start of the game in order to take additional actions, and you will be able to redraw back up to your hand limit of 3 at the end of the round. But the last thing you can do on your turn is activate any of the wormholes out on your board, and all the players start with 2 wormholes on each of the different orbit paths. And when you activate a wormhole, any of the matter or antimatter located on that space is going to be automatically moved to the other space. The only catch here is that when you do that, that wormhole is going to be closing until you do reach a certain round in the game, because between rounds 2 and 3, all the wormholes will open again, and then also again between rounds 4 and 5, so you are incentivized to use these. As you get enough mass into the black hole, it's going to be moving you through different thresholds, which actually allow you to add a bigger black hole token onto your board, which is actually going to cover up some of the different orbital locations, making it easier to get mass into the black hole from that point forward. But the game continues like this, and the most massive player at the end of the 6 rounds wins the game. And if you do want to check this one out, I will have it linked down below.